Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Slows Wrestling Show, your source for all things wrestling and sports entertainment. Live from Palm Harbor, Florida. Coming up, AEW Dynamite Results, WWE Raw Results, NXT Results, AEW Double or Nothing predictions and thoughts. Should wrestlers be able to have some kind of creative control? Vince McMahon is aiming to have fans at SummerSlam. Devon Dudley retires. Undertaker signs a new contract. Booker T thinks Sting will go to AEW, and more on the Slows Wrestling Show. Welcome back to the Slows Wrestling Show, your source for all things wrestling and sports entertainment. Now here are the AEW Dynamite results for this week. Jon Moxley defeated 10. MJF defeated Marco Stunt. Rey Fenix defeated Orange Cassidy. Nyla Rose and Dr. Britt Baker defeated Chris Statlander and Hiroki Kushida. And Matt Hardy defeated Sammy Guevara. So I give this week's AEW Dynamite an 8 out of 10 for the opening matchup. And I love the preview interview backstage with Jon Moxley. That was very well done. And I also liked the ending of Guevara versus Matt Hardy. That match gave us a good foreshadowing of what's to come in the Stadium Stampede match at Double or Nothing. And overall, it was an amazing show. The only thing I'd like to see more of is MJF, because he's such a good bad guy. He does an amazing job with that role, and he completely gets good reactions from people who may not like MJF. But one thing is for certain, and that's he can take any part of a match and make it so interesting. So I look forward to seeing more of MJF in the future. Now here are the WWE Raw results. Murphy defeats Humberto Carrillo via pinfall. Charlotte Flair defeats Ruby Riott via submission in a non-title match. Bobby Lashley defeats R-Truth via submission. Women's Tag Team Championship match. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, the champions, defeat the Iconics via disqualification. Shayna Baszler defeats Natalya in a submission match. Kevin Owens and Apollo Crews defeat Andrade and Angel Garza via pinfall. Aleister Black defeats Murphy via disqualification. And Drew McIntyre defeats King Corbin via pinfall in a non-title match. Now here are the NXT results. Karrion Kross with Scarlett defeats Liam Gray. El Hijo del Fantasma defeats Akira Tozawa. Mia Yim defeats Santana Garrett. Roderick Strong defeats Dexter Lumis. Danny Burch and Oney Larkin defeat Everrise, Chase Parker, and Matt Martell. And Io Shirai defeats Rhea Ripley, ends in a no contest. Now here are my AEW Double or Nothing predictions and thoughts. Jon Moxley retains the AEW World Championship title against Brody Lee in a hard-fought battle. Lance Archer will become the first TNT champion, beating Cody off a distraction. The Inner Circle will lose to the Elite in a Stadium Stampede match. Casino Ladder match winner will be Frankie Kazarian or Joey Janela. Nyla Rose will defeat Hiroki Kushida. Britt Baker will defeat Chris Statlander. Shawn Spears will lose to Dustin Rhodes. And the Revival will debut under a different name. So I think AEW Double or Nothing will be a very well done pay-per-view. Even without a crowd, I have high hopes for this show. And I think the best match of the night will be close. I think it will be between the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match and the Casino Ladder match. That may or may not get the best reactions out of people. And one of the matches I can't wait to see the most is this Stadium Stampede match. I believe that match is going to be all over the place. There's going to be a full-out brawl. And I expect to see the Young Bucks and Matt Hardy go all out in this match for sure. I expect to see crazy things happen, like jumping off ledges, doing suicide dives to the floor. I expect a bunch of crazy stuff like that. So I'm all for this pay-per-view. It's going to be amazing to watch. Now, according to Heel vs. Face on Instagram, Vince McMahon is aiming to have fans at SummerSlam on August 22nd. So I think there should be fans for SummerSlam to a degree and have sanitization and preventable safety measures in place for the pay-per-view. And it could work as long as Vince gets approval from the state the pay-per-view is in and from the government. And if not, SummerSlam should be moved to a disclosed location where only a certain small amount of number of fans would be allowed into the show. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully everything works out. Now, if you have not heard, Devon Dudley has retired from professional wrestling. So Devon had so many great moments in wrestling, from his time in ECW all the way to his time in WWE. And my favorite matches Devon was involved in were the ladder matches against Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, as well as matches against The Rock and the Wyatt family. And in his career, he won 29 different titles. So that pretty much goes to show he had one of the best runs in professional wrestling in my eyes. And he surely is going to be missed, and his legacy will be cemented forever because he is in the WWE Hall of Fame. And hopefully one day I'll be able to meet him and see him at a Comic-Con for sure. I would love to do that. I haven't been to a wrestling Comic-Con or anything like that in a while, so that would be pretty cool to do. Now, according to Heel vs. Face on Instagram, it's been revealed that The Undertaker's new contract details have been revealed. It's being reported that The Undertaker signed a 15-year contract with WWE that will last until he's 70 years old. So as much respect as I have for The Undertaker, I don't think he should continue to perform unless his schedule is limited. And WWE would have to do so because he can only take so much, because at that age, you should give him recovery time, and that's the best option and route to go because there's only so much he may or not be able to do. And hopefully WWE will continue to do cinematic matches with him, because I really love I loved the last cinematic match that he had with AJ Styles. That was very, very well done. The production was amazing. And I saw the behind the scenes footage for that, and it just looked incredible how they put it together. And I'd like to see another one of those in the future. Now, Booker T said on his podcast that he believes Sting will finish off his career in AEW. So I would love to see Sting on All Elite Wrestling if he decides he wants to continue his career with them or not. And it would be cool to see what direction Cody and Tony Khan would go with him. So, as Booker said, anything can happen in this business. Anything can happen in wrestling. So, only time will tell. Now, according to Daily Accolade on Instagram, this week's Raw viewership drops. Raw had an average of 1.757 million. This is down from last week's 1.920 million. This week was the second lowest Raw viewership in the history of the show. So, last week's ratings were better than this week's Raw viewership. And Raw viewership tends to fluctuate on and off depending on the audience that tunes in. If they don't tune in, that's what I think causes the drop in ratings, because not everyone watches the same show and not everyone watches wrestling. So oftentimes wrestling fans want to see different things. So that's what I see might be causing these ratings to change and fluctuate. I will take a break, but when we come back, Britt Baker possibly injured. Hogan's Hangout thoughts. WWN Training Center reopening Monday. WWE NXT in your house. WWE now looking for new SummerSlam location with fans. This day in wrestling history and more on the Slows Wrestling Show. Welcome back to the Slows Wrestling Show, your source for all things wrestling and sports entertainment. According to Daily Accolade on Instagram, it is believed Britt Baker may have suffered a torn ACL on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. If this is true, she could be out for 9 months or more. So I hope this is not the case and that she'll be okay, because injuries like this tend to derail a star's storyline or whatever they are currently working on. And it could clearly, you can clearly see she landed the wrong way, but hopefully she will still be able to compete, and hopefully there will be no issues. Now, last week when I was on Clearwater Beach, I saw that Hulk Hogan will be opening a restaurant called Hogan's Hangout in just a matter of weeks. So I'm excited to see what the restaurant will be like when it's ready and finished. And I think it will draw a ton of tourists and wrestling fans for sure. And I look forward to seeing how everything turns out, what the food's like. So if there will be special guests there, I'm all for going. I would love to see Jimmy Hart again. I would love to see Hulk Hogan again, and see a smattering of others who may or may not be there. But it's going to be exciting, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Now, according to the WWN Facebook page, the WWN Training Center is reopening Monday. So this is great news for performers of ACW and WWN who want to train and get back to doing what they love the most. And there may not be any events running right now, but at least the performers will be learning new things, and hopefully soon we'll see shows running again. Now here's the WWE NXT In Your House card so far. NXT North American title, Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano, possible match. Karrion Kross versus Tommaso Ciampa, confirmed. NXT Women's Championship match confirmed. Charlotte Flair versus Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley. Now, according to High Risk Maneuver on Instagram, WWE is looking for a new SummerSlam location to have fans at. Boston is not likely to have SummerSlam in their city, so it may be Florida or Georgia instead. The pay-per-view may get pushed to September if they cannot find a new location. So hopefully WWE can have fans at SummerSlam, and it might have to be done in Florida since fans are allowed to go to shows in the state of Florida. And if they decide to move the date to September, it could have a huge effect on the expected attendance and ratings, because SummerSlam has always been around this time of the year. So I'm not sure if this will help them, but we will have to wait and see. Now here's what happened on this day in wrestling on May 23rd, 1992. WCW took place from the UTC Arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Steve Austin defeated Barry Windham for the WCW World Television title, and Brian Pillman would defeat Greg Valentine. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at ShowSlows. Check out the Slows Wrestling Show Facebook page, and check out my website, slowshqtv.weebly.com. From Palm Harbor, Florida, I'm Alex Slows saying goodbye for now. Have a good evening, everybody.